Hey everybody, it's Tim Sackett, and we are back with another episode of HR Famous. And today I have a couple of guests I'm really excited about. The team from Reelist, not the team, but the co-founders, co-founder, like I don't know how, CEO, COO. Basically, I have Sean and Katy from the Reelist team. Sean, I'll let you start with talking about the concept of Reelist, like from when I met you guys probably almost 3 years ago now to today. Has Reelist evolved, changed? Like when you guys started it, where was it to where it is today? So part of that is explaining to people what the heck is Reelist, right?
Yeah. Thanks for having us on here. I'll just start with, we make it ridiculously easy to recruit off social. So automated creatives, paid social ads, organic social ads, brand safety and compliance, candidate messaging, screening candidates, integrated all into your ATS. Your ATS is controlling everything. And then we optimize everything in real time. So that's what we do now. What we started as actually, I think even a little bit before we met you, we actually started as, we thought we were going to make like TikTok for jobs. And so not many people know that. And so it's essentially job seekers create videos about themselves and employers create videos about themselves. And you're kind of matching between them. But I feel like
is it TikTok or Tinder? I can't remember which. Like,
so
the swipe problem, left, swipe right. It's like, wait a minute. Yeah, I like this person. No, I don't. Oh, okay.
So the problem becomes like what we found is we end up being like essentially a job board with video added to it. And as job boards at that time were like really declining and as far as like capturing attention and stuff like that. So just like putting this layer on top and then trying to convince people, you have double-sided marketplace situations going city by city and stuff. It's just really hard at that time, especially to make content at scale. Not such a problem anymore, but.
So the one thing I get told constantly, people always tell me like, Tim, you're like, it's everything you like, you break stuff down and be very practical. So I take what you said, which I still think is pretty practical, but I'm going to break it down even more. So over the last 15 years, when someone thought about, I wish we could figure out how to recruit talent off of Facebook or Instagram or X or Twitter or, whatever you want to call it, TikTok, even LinkedIn. That's the social aspect of you guys saying, okay, hey, we can actually find that talent on those social channels for you by using this kind of micro video, very highly targeted. Tell me if where I'm. So like, I guess a question I have there is like, if I'm a manufacturing company in the Midwest, I need to find a bunch of people for a warehouse or for factory jobs or for whatever. Like what channel actually works best for that? And have you I know if you guys have proven that out, but like where I know they would use the easy button for them, right? But if they were in their mind, they were thinking, hey, we've done the the Indeed thing, right? And we've gone so far with that. Like, where's their next best tool to try to figure out where that talent is?
So there's a couple of ways to figure that out. And so one of the things, obviously, I don't want to like make this some giant ad for us, but essentially one of the things that we're
not an ad. I actually think this is super fascinating because we've struggled since the beginning of social to figure out how to recruit on social.
One of the things that we got really, really, really good at was recruiting for in-person jobs. Like somebody physically has to get in their vehicle and go somewhere. If you think about social media and advertising from a historical standpoint, it has always been about e-commerce. And so someone's physically buying something from some store and it's getting shipped to your house. So the targeting, it's just not built for somebody to physically go somewhere and do something. So we got really good at taking in all these data points. We literally analyze billions of data points and we process them into targeting. And so when you're pulling your jobs in from your ATS, it's literally processing all that stuff for you. What we have found in rural areas, we've consistently recruit in rural areas for a lot of our customers all over the US. These are not like big towns. They're 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 people in these towns. And we're consistently getting quality applicants in these areas. A lot of the times it's going to be like Facebook, for example. Instagram will typically do well, but I try to like justify why this happens. And the only thing I can think about is you run the gamut between, you have your 18-year-old and your grandma all on Facebook and you're in a small town. So that's like your whole community. Sure, you're still going to Instagram and stuff like that, but your whole community is on Facebook. So that's like the only reason I can think that works there. TikTok does not work in rural areas for the most part. And that is because density. And so if you do targeting on TikTok, for example, they do predominantly, you can do some cities depending on the density of the network in on TikTok, but like for the most part, they do like DMA areas. And so,
Yeah.
which was built for like radio, antenna, TV, stuff like that. And so, for example, if you try and target in Arizona, you're going to target the whole state. Someone is not going to
Yeah.
drive hours away. So it's like, you can't use TikTok for that. But for we're in Norfolk, Virginia, you can actually target Norfolk, Virginia.
Yeah.
If you target New York City, you're actually targeting New York, Long Island, 7+ million people there. And then you're also doing half of the state. And so it doesn't necessarily work if you're trying to get somebody to work in like Midtown Manhattan. TikTok doesn't work there either. So it's got pros and cons in certain areas, but we
Yeah.
handle
It's
all of that.
interesting. Like Katie, when we take it, like, I think of like those small, like kind of rural areas or like kind of mid enterprise manufacturing companies. The one thing they always, when we work for a company like that, we think, oh, everybody in town knows who we are. But then if I go and do it at high school, if I go to a local community college and say, hey, tell me the biggest employers in town, most of the time they don't even come up in the top 10. Like, it's shocking to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when you work for a company, you think, oh my God, this is a great company. And the owners, and the founders and the presidents and all that think they're like, oh my God, we're an amazing place to work. And they think everybody else thinks that in the community, but it's rare that it's actually the case.
You are 100% right. One of our customers employs 45,000 people. They are the largest shipbuilder in the United States. They build all of the nuclear aircraft carriers and nuclear submarines. And you go 15 miles away and people don't know their name.
Yeah.
You're 100% right on that. So I think, to your point earlier, when you were asking Sean about what steps do they take? I think there's two really important pieces to recruiting off of social. One is spreading awareness. And to do that, you have to get your ads out there. And so viewing the ad differently is really important. It's really important to consider that this ad is not for your C-suite. It's not some beautiful, slick thing that you spend tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars on. It is a targeted message to the people that want to work for you about the things that they care about. They care
Yeah.
about working conditions. They care about salary. Exactly. They care about where it is. And you have to make that really short and get it out there. And then what we focus on is all the data, test and learn.
Yeah.
What message is resonating. So get that message out there, test a bunch of creative, and we've made it super easy, ridiculously easy to make that creative. So it takes away that barrier. And then the second thing that they need to think about is connecting that awareness to an actual action. So that's where we've taken our cues from e-commerce, because it used to be you might learn about something on e-commerce and then you have to go to the store and buy it, or you have to figure out how to get that thing.
Yeah.
And
Now everybody just
e-commerce,
wants to click on something, right? It's like, no, it's click and get it.
shop now, right? You
Instant
want to shop
gratification.
now.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so we've done that for jobs. So you see the job, you visualize yourself in it, and then you apply now.
So funny side story, and none of this, like I don't script these. Like everyone wants to come on with a script. I just kind of like, no, we're just going to have a conversation. So I actually own and run the company my mother started 45 years ago. You guys knew that because we've shared our stories, but and my audience knows that. What my audience doesn't know is my mother actually started another company. She was like really good at like interior decorating and landscape design, like anything. She just had this like eye that she immediately could see what she wanted and could get the contractors and just order the stuff and blah, blah, blah. So she decided she wanted to start a company so she could buy it wholesale. And the name of the company was Instant Gratification, because she was like that person that she just wanted the shit now. I want this stuff right now. Like, this is just going to be the case, I've never told that story. It's funny.
I love that. Your mom was
true.
right on.
I'm one of those people. I watch almost every video on 2x speed. It drives my wife insane. I'm not even kidding. YouTube videos, like Instagram videos, I literally hold it down. Almost every single video I watch on 2x.
I do that on my I'm podcasting. Like, I'm like, it's like an hour podcast. I'm going to hear this thing in like 32 minutes.
I'm like,
So I want to like dig in a little bit to like what makes a recruitment ad on social viral. You guys have a ton of data, over 300 million organic views this last year. I think what is like, Katie, I think you shared like 1 in 3 of those videos went viral. So one is I want to define what viral means, but then I also want to dig into what makes it that, and then also share, because you guys kind of helped me with like the Michigan Recruiters Conference, and you were like, okay, give us a 15-second or a 14-second ad, can't be 16, blah blah blah,
Mm-hmm.
and holy crap, like it was hard to comprehend 15 seconds and how fast that goes when you're trying to say something and you're trying to say something impactful. But then you realize that's the world we live in with like micro video. So like dig into for me a little bit on what creates a
Mm-hmm.
viral recruitment ad.
I think I sit down every 2 weeks with someone on our team. I just go through all the data. I'm literally looking through. It depends. I think slight correction. We didn't have 1 in 3 did not go viral. We had a video go viral about every 3 days, and
Oh,
so
three
we had
days. Sorry. Yeah.
over 100 last year. And so
Yeah.
for us, we don't have a ton of followers across our platforms. Maybe like 20 some thousand total across
Yeah.
our platform. So to get 300 million on that amount of followers is insane.
Yeah.
So for us, it's typically a video with over 1 million views. We have videos with over 1 million likes. We have, I could pull up the thing. You can see it.
Yeah.
It's literally like 200,000 people like this, 100,000. It's literally just all the way down. Like if I go click on like some of these Instagram profiles right now, you can go see all these stats. It's actually insane to think about. Like just, a year and a half ago, we were getting like 1,000 views. And so for us, to be able to get these, I think you got to focus on where are you distributing this content. So, for example, Instagram, when you make these posts, who is it for, and what are you
Yeah.
designing this for? And so you have to shareability. And so in your first few thousand, 10, 20,000 views, you need to like target like 13% to 15% will get you over 5 million views. 13 will get you between 1 and 5 million views. Under that, it might just fall flat on its face.
Sean, when you target 13%, are you talking about 13% of your
sorry.
audience has to? Yeah.
No, so that's view to share ratio. And so
Okay.
historically, you like the CEO of Instagram, he's got a channel. You should, if you're interested in this, you should go follow him on Instagram. He gives you all these
Yep.
Instagram tips and stuff like that. But one of the things that he said is like typically only 5 to 10% of your followers actually see your post. So if you're posting on a profile with 100,000 viewers, maybe 5 to 10,000 is actually going to see this. But on Instagram, you're focusing on, is somebody going to share this with their friend? Are they going to DM it to somebody? So when you make content for Instagram, you have to make it designed to share. And so that's like the thing there. And then if you go over to like Facebook, for example, you can do stuff that's a little bit more funny. The share to view ratio doesn't matter as much there. It's going to be more on likes to views. And so are people liking that content? And then a pro tip just for Meta would be that you should always post to Instagram and let it post to Facebook. So what's going to happen there is your stats from Facebook will show on Instagram too. And so it's going to make people see that you have more views. So we've had some videos with literally like almost no views on Instagram and it's got millions on Facebook, or we'll have millions on Instagram and 0 on Facebook, but it still shows like on the feed, like the same. And so that's like one thing that we found. When you turn that off for whatever reason, no video went viral. You got to make sure you don't have age restrictions like on your profile. If you have age restrictions, that automatically kills like virality there too.
Yeah.
And so I can nerd out about this for hours.
No, I love it. So like, break it down though for, that TA brand person, or even like just some TA leader that's going to like, okay, well, I think we should be making posts then on Instagram and like, so when you say like it should be shareable, like define that, like what does that mean that like that a video is more shareable than one that's not?
I will give an example. I saw this girl. She made a TikTok video. I think she was in Montana. It was all over the news, and she was like, "Hey, come work at my farm. Here's all the things about like working on my farm. Here's why working on my farm is different. No ad, no paid, anything. Went completely insanely viral. She had people move to her place all over from the U.S. all over, and so the thing was like they had the great call to action, like, "Hey, come work here." That's like very important. Nobody cares who you are. That's like when we hired one of our younger the videographers, we made our first videos, and he was like, "Stop introducing yourself. Nobody gives a shit." And that like changed everything. Literally, that's what he told us, and we're like, He's right. Like if you look at the retention on the videos when we chop that
Hi,
out,
I'm Tim. I'm the CEO of blah blah blah. You're like half the video, like you're like click, like I
nobody
don't like
cares.
bye.
You have to earn the right for the next 3 seconds. That's how I view these videos. And
Oh,
so
that's awesome. I love that.
it's very easy to make these videos if you have a very clear call to action. Come work here. Like we're
Yeah,
hiring right now. Like if you have to put that in the first 1 to 2 seconds, because a lot of times, especially if you're trying to recruit somebody, they're not going to watch the rest of it. They're going to click on it and they're
yep.
going to want to learn more. And so 14 seconds, honestly, in recruiting world is still too long. I know for that video that you had. So
I know.
typically you want to be under a little
Three
under 10.
seconds. You're like 3 seconds. How are you going to get the hook in 3 seconds? That's
You can do
crazy.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Katie, you were
And
going to
I
say
think,
something?
yeah, I was just going to say back to the virality and that hook, and everybody talks about the great hook, and Sean just mentioned this, but what you really want is to qualify and disqualify in recruiting videos in particular. So here's the pro tip for recruiting videos. Tell them straight out, we're hiring for this role, in this location, and this is why you want to do it. Because and your reason why may not be the most popular answer. Maybe because it's night shift. So if you're a vampire and you don't like to be out during the day, apply
Yeah, yeah,
now, because you don't want the people who only want day shift. You only want the people who are night shift because that's your job.
yeah, yeah,
And so
Yeah.
what's important is you want the people who can visualize themselves in your job to apply to it and share
yeah.
it with other people they can visualize. So what we see is people tagging their friends, tagging their families, saving videos, sharing them in a way that you just don't see in other platforms.
Yeah, and it's a different way to think about recruitment advertising because I think for decades, recruitment advertising has been about we want everybody, right? How do we get this out to everybody? And you're like, no, you don't want everybody because there's a lot, because the vast majority of people will never come. If you're trying to hire for a mechanic, right, or a technician, a doctor, a lawyer, a school teacher, a blah blah blah. None of these people are gonna, work for you. Now they might know somebody, right? That's always it was a thought process. Like, well, we have to let everybody know because then they'll share it. But like we're saying, like with this kind of content, that person would skip over your content immediately, anyways. They're never gonna share it, or
Hmm.
very not as much, right? From that standpoint.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
this,
and one of the things, oh, sorry, Sean.
oh, God. Yeah.
One of the things that's really cool about social media in particular versus other types of platforms or more written platforms is that we don't get the bot applies. So you get people who are watching the video and with intent. So it drives the awareness and then
Yeah.
it drives the intent. And so you don't get those mass numbers of applications of people who don't even actually necessarily know that they apply.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think to that point, a lot of people don't realize when you run an ad, say on Indeed, for example, you're boosting like their SEO. You're actually like deranking your career site, and so now you're giving them money to like get more links and clicks. So Google's going to give more authority to them. So your career site's actually getting pushed. So it's like Katie likes to describe it as like heroin, and so
Yeah.
it's like literally you like get addicted to it because you have to do it because you're like deranking yourself as you do it. So you get in like this weird loop versus social is like it's your own handles, it's your own brand. I mean, you could use some of like ours, for example, but traditionally it's all your own stuff, and so
Yeah.
you're promoting your own brand. You're doing all these things, so it's naturally helping you. And one other thing that was really really eye opening for us, since we got really good at like the in person ones, or like for like restaurants and retail, these places where people physically go in somewhere,
Yeah.
they're getting new customers, which does not happen on job boards and stuff like that. And so with this one restaurant, we fully staffed them in literally less than 10 days, front of the house, back of the house. Their opening day was packed. And
Yeah.
it was because if you go look at their hiring ads, it was, hey, did you know this restaurant's opening over here? This place looks really cool. Hey,
Yeah.
tagging their friends are like, hey, let's show up. They're opening this day. And it's like, and so they got like 70,000 local impressions, but also fully staffed in the same videos for like literally $1,000.
Yeah.
And so it was insane.
So you just brought up the money aspect because everyone's going to say that, ask that, right? So like when you compare, like let's say like Indeed applies or like other ways, things of that sort, like when you think about like cost per applicant from a social campaign, and again, I know it all dependent upon a lot of things, but like ballpark wise, what does that look like for a company, like you said, like for frontline worker types? Like what do you think that kind of average cost per apply for you guys is.
Katy, I don't know if you want to talk about it. I can give you, it does apply. Like, I'm a software engineer. So whenever people ask questions, I always say, like, it depends is like
Yeah,
typically
yeah,
the answer there.
exactly. Yeah.
But it's,
I know
it,
there's a lot, but I'm not, and it's not like ballpark. I think it helps people kind of go, oh shoot, like we can afford that, right?
so
We
we're doing
also
organic
typically
stuff
compare
now.
it to cost per Indeed, right?
Yeah.
So if
So
Indeed can get it for X, we can typically drive a cost that's less than that by up to 30%.
Yeah.
typically, yeah, that's a good way. So if you know what your Indeed costs are, you could typically, like she said, get like 30% under. What that looks like, we've had like really extreme cases where people have hired general managers for their restaurants where they literally poach their biggest competitor's general manager for like less than $1. And then we've
Yeah.
had like where you're hiring welders, for example. This one company hired 25 welders with all the right requirements and all that stuff that stay, like really great retention for literally like less than $3,000. They hired all of these welders.
Yeah.
And
It's
so,
crazy.
and so it really, really depends on the location, the type of job, how much you're paying. And so that typically does that. And then how fast you are. So we can capture these people. They're like sitting on their toilet, they're scrolling, they're in their bed, they're
Yeah.
doing this stuff.
Oh
So they'll
yeah.
see the ad, they'll click on it, they can apply directly from the actual social platform itself. They're not getting redirected to career site. They're not going to these landing pages, not doing any of that.
Yeah.
We can instantly capture their intent in that second. And so it's how fast are you after that? And so some of the stuff that we're about to release will, it fully takes care of that. And so that was some of the stuff that helps drive your costs down. Like we've had people when we were first getting started, take 2 to 3 weeks to reach out to these candidates, and
You're like, it's never going to
and
work. Yeah.
and then they would run another ad and they'd reach out to these people in 24 hours, and then they're hiring everyone they need to hire. And so it's like, how fast can you get to these people? Because
I think
they're
we discount speed. Now it's funny because I always think like average days, like time to fill metrics and stuff like that. I rag on people a lot, but it's meaningless from that standpoint. Especially when you take a look at a macro, we're hiring 50 different jobs in a corporation, blah, blah, blah. Time to fill is meaningless, but time to respond to an applicant, I think is direct impact. And the best like story I have of this is like Marriott started to go down this path of like kind of a conversational apply, right? So very fast, schedule an interview very quickly. But before they even did that, Chris Dunn, who's a CHRO at the time, was a global head of TA, actually had an example within the Denver market where he went out there, had like 30 GMs from all these different like Marriott chain like hotels, right? He said 28 of the 30 were all like coming to like, hey, they were begging for talent. Like we're struggling to hire. And there was 2 that weren't. And so he's like, well, what the heck why aren't you guys struggling? And all they did was actually have, because there always is a manager on staff 24/7 for a hotel chain, right? And so they basically had like a bat phone, like they just went out and got like a burner phone, right? Cell phone. This was the line somebody called when they wanted to come work there. And 24/7, they had a manager respond the moment that person called. So like that was the only difference. Now, so they forced it to happen, right? They physically didn't use automation or whatever. They just said, "Hey, we're going to analog this, but we're going to make it happen." And but having that real time interaction with candidates solved their hiring problem. And it's like it can't be the silver bullet, but yet it seems like that's the silver bullet.
Yes,
I think
communication, 100%.
100%. 100%.
We believe that, and that omni-channel communication. And I know Sean can talk more about that, but
Yeah,
I think you're totally right.
Yeah, we can talk through that, especially on these like lower level, like very entry level jobs. It's whoever gets this person. If Chick-fil-A reaches out to this person before Taco Bell, it doesn't matter that person. It's who
They need a
gets to them
job.
first. They're going to
Yes.
accept the job, and can you start tomorrow? That's like the thing. So some of these people will literally apply on our platform. They're hired within 2 hours. It's insane.
Yeah.
And so
we've even seen it on the professional side. We do staffing with a lot of defense clients. I know you guys work with defense clients as well. And like when they decide to move and they decide to hire, I mean, we've had people interview that started 2 days later. They were like, okay, hey, yes. Like, can you, and these are like literally like higher level jobs where people are making, it's like, I think across, now again, it's probably sometimes like people have to give time because they're already in a job and blah, blah, blah. But I think we discount that applied action kind of metric. I think is so important in terms of landing really great talent or just landing talent in general from that standpoint. Sean, I want to talk a little bit about, because everyone like all we've heard about in 2025 and probably all we hear about in 2026 is this concept of like AI in recruiting. You guys obviously use agentic AI and in the processes and things you do to get recruitment ads on social. But explain what that really means. If I'm a head of TA or I'm a CHRO or I'm a brand person, what's the difference between like what we've done traditionally versus now kind of using like agentic AI?
So when it first came out, like ChatGPT, like whenever you're in ChatGPT, for example, and you're talking to it, that's going to be Gen AI, which is, hey, I'm going to give you instructions on like how to do something. So here's how you make an ad. Maybe it tells you to go in Canva, or you can like
Yeah,
connect it. You can at Canva in ChatGPT and get it to do some of those things. But that's Gen AI give you instructions like, hey, how do you create a recruitment post for social media? It's going to say, hey,
yeah,
log into your Instagram, do step one, step two, step three. And then from an agent standpoint, it's going to be, hey, I just generated 5 videos for you. Here are the 5 videos. What do you like about them? What do you not like about them? Okay, cool. I created your campaign for you. I created your lead form. I created your targeting. I created all this stuff. And we have
yeah,
agents for every single layer. Okay, I checked against all the compliance for all the platforms. So it's legal in the areas that you're doing it. And so it literally checks all of that stuff in. And we have an agent, and it's typically one agent per task. And so
yeah,
you don't necessarily, you can have these, they call them like RAG workflows, and then there's a few other different terms for them now, but it's essentially you can chain these steps together, which creates a workflow. And in those workflows, you could have an agent that does one task. So like this agent just reads a spreadsheet, for example, and it picks out keywords. And then from that spreadsheet, you can send it to the next agent who takes those keywords and turns them into social media posts.
yeah.
And then that's what it is essentially. So an agent is just a task that you have that is one sole task, typically is what agents are really, really good at. And you can chain a bunch of them together. And so, and
So
during those
yeah, so you're not
workflows,
so
yeah.
it's actually doing the work and then you're getting to see the end result of that and approve, disapprove, whatever it might be, right? Kind of make that kind of action step go forward. If that's what you desire. I know there's a lot of agentic
Mm-hmm.
AI out there as well as it's like, especially around like HR tech where it's like, I don't even need an HR person or a human to actually approve this. Like it's already, world class at this task. It's just going to do the task, right? And be done
Mm-hmm.
kind of with it from that standpoint. So when you think about that for you guys, like I guess like my mind, I always go back to like sitting in the chair of the practitioner, going, okay, cool. Um, I need social recruitment job advertising today. If they were to like contact you, like how fast does that happen for them, and how can they test that? Like, is there ability like because like so much of the HR tech we buy today is like, oh, here you need to go through this contract and $50,000 and blah blah blah, and it's like it just becomes this nightmarish kind of 6 month sales cycle. Like, what is it? What does that look like for you guys?
Katie can talk about this, but I'd say one thing
Yeah,
that we did about being ridiculously easy is we feel like we've democratized running paid ads and organic on social. You could literally sign up, get started in like 30 seconds, and you could be
yeah.
running your first ad in less than 5 minutes. That is how it is. You can sync your ATS, you
It's
can create
the
your
easiest
creative.
thing in the world to try, right?
We
Yeah.
took a ton of cues from like e-commerce and stuff like that. And
Yeah,
it's like, we're not historically from the HR space. I've been recruiting on social in my last company for like 14 years and then
yeah,
like done all this stuff. So it's like not new to like recruiting and stuff like that, but it's to this space. It just seems weird that everything's behind a paywall. It seems it takes months and months and months to do stuff. And it's like, just get started. E-commerce, if you need to manage your social media with the e-commerce site, any of these products you can just go sign up for and start using instantly. And so,
yeah. You got like literally, it almost feels like I told you I've said to you guys this privately, and I've said it to some other people. Like, there's things in recruiting because I run an agency, right? That you always want to keep secret, like you don't want to let out of the bag. It's like your secret sauce. Like you
mhm.
find something, eventually it gets out, but like for a little bit of time, you feel like you got this like secret sauce, and nobody knows about. And I think that that's what you guys have created. Like, and it's like once it like everybody finds out, they're going to just be using it, and it's going to be like, oh, you guys ruined it. Everyone's using it now.
Well, there's a
So
little bit of it. I mean, we help
yeah.
companies get in front of the best talent first. So if you're
Yeah,
on social, you're getting in front of the right people first because you're getting
yeah,
that message out there. And like Sean said, we make it so easy because it's pay as you go. You decide how much or how little you want to advertise or recruit that month, and you can ramp it up or you can ramp it down to 0 that month if that's what you need. So it's really simple to get started. Like you said, that it's very fast to onboard, and then we can help you get your creative with our AI tools. So that barrier is gone, and then you just get started, try it, see how it works for you.
Here's the one thing I think I've learned with programmatic over the last like probably 8 to 10 years that I think it's always interesting to have this conversation too, because I think people hear this, see this and go, oh my God, yes, I've been struggling to find 14 software engineers in BFE, Iowa. And you're like, slow down. Social can't create talent that's not there, right? It can find talent of when it's there, but it can't create net new talent. And I think that's the one thing I think people get lost with is like, because they're just told by like their director of engineering and their CEO and stuff are like, oh, well, we need to hire these people. And you're like, well, if they're not there, it's really hard to hire them, but without sucking people into a market. Right.
That's right. And social is not for every job. You're not going to hire your CEO. They're not going to apply to a CEO job on social.
Yeah.
So that where we really focus our efforts is on that frontline, that high volume hiring, companies who are moving into a new area, who are, like when Shopped was moving into a new area and they wanted to get word out that they had these jobs. This is a great platform for those types of jobs.
And
Yeah.
I would add on to this. So one thing that we just started doing for like publicly doing is we're releasing some of our APIs. So you can actually hook it up to your other, say you have some platform, you can hook it up to that platform and automatically create these social ads. So you're not doing literally anything. And so, for example, it could trigger off something in your ATS. It'll create the hiring video, create everything for you, and it automatically launches that ad. And then the second you're done hiring. And so for high volume roles where you're like, these racks are opening, closing every couple hours and things like that, social is not good for that historically. And because it takes, your video has to go get approved. Like it's not internally, it has to get approved on the platform. So TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, whatever it is, somebody on their team's got to approve it. A lot of times it's pretty quick. And then it takes a few hours to ramp up the targeting internally through running through their algorithms and stuff like that. So if you have high volume role that's opening and closing, you can't, it's really hard to respond to that. So we've solved that problem internally. So we have ways to do that. But there's some groups where it's literally like a cook job, and then it'll be open. They'll get, like say 1,000 applicants, and then they'll close it, reassign a number and open another one. And it's like, we can handle all of these like scenarios like this, but these APIs to essentially allow you to do this from whatever system you have or in an automated way. So people can physically log into our system, but you can also do it via a couple calls here.
Yeah. So so the example would be every time you get, an approved new rec that gets posted in your ATS, potentially you could just automatically pull that, create it, have it go, from that standpoint.
Yeah. So for example, I can give you an example. One of our customers, UKG Pro, they go into UKG Pro, they mark a job as high priority, and high priority jobs, we automatically will take those jobs. We'll target for them automatically. We do all the placements, all the legal, all the compliance. It all happens in real time via our agents. And then, so the second they mark it, within seconds, it's going up. And so I think another point there is that all of our integrations, all of our people, everything is in-house. We don't use like there's Merge and all these other kind of tools. And I think, what are they, like Merge, FlexSpring and stuff like that. The problem with those platforms is they take hours to sync. And so if somebody updates something in their job, then they got to like go look at it and stuff. And it's going to take hours. So your ad is it's running, just burning cash for hours. If the company that you're using didn't build that integration. So we have first party integrations with all these people. We're partnered with them. So we have real time connections. So literally the second you close something in Pinpoint, for example, within like 300 milliseconds, it's closed inside of Reelist. It is
Sean, you're getting a little inside baseball on an HR tech thing. And even most CHROs and heads of TA have no idea like how their data is pulled and how often. And when they find out, sometimes they're really shocked. They're just like, wait a minute, what? Twice a day, 4 times a day. And then like, again, like the systems will come back and go, well, come on, like really, it doesn't have to be real time. Like, but you're like, well, wait, for some of our things, maybe it does.
Recruiting, it does. Absolutely. Not anything else. So anybody that uses like Merge and FlexSpring and stuff like that, nothing against them, like the data chills in their platforms. And so so all your ATS data is also sitting inside of those platforms too, which is, it's kind of necessary for those. But for us, we're really, really, really big on security. And so I think that's, ingrained in me from, past. I read security for our company for over 14 years, CTO of the last company, done all this top secret, like networks, managing all that stuff. So it's like we've really built all of that stuff into Reelist. And so we've, SOC 2, Type 2, we have on all
Yeah.
5 trust criteria areas. I think a lot of people don't understand, like they see SOC 2 and they're like, cool. The minimum for SOC 2 is literally almost nothing. And
Yeah.
so like you got to go look and see, do they have all the 5 trust criteria? Because it's not a hard requirement to have privacy controls in place for SOC 2 to like actually have it. But you got to look and see, do they have these privacy controls? How are they really treating this data? And then also we're compliant with all the US data laws. So every single state, I think there's over 20 states that have some sort of rules and laws around like processing ads and stuff like that. We're complying every single one of these. GDPR UK, GDPR EU, the EU data platform. We also have that, and so it's like we take this really, really, really seriously. And so
That's
I
awesome.
think it's just one of those things I think is often overlooked, and you can get some hot water.
I think it's nice. I mean, I think people now like they have to, right? So it's like it's become paramount. Before, like I think the last 2 years, like people were kind of like, oh yeah, we're whatever. But now with the AI stuff, everyone's freaked out about it. So it's nice to be like, no, this is just what we have, and you don't have to worry about it from that standpoint. Thank you all for the education. This has been amazing because I do think it's one of those things we've struggled with. I mean, since we started doing anything on social and it blew up, immediately everybody thought, oh my God, this would be the best way to recruit. No one's figured it out. I think you guys have in a really, really big way. I wanted to keep it secret, but we can't. That's not why I do what I do. I try to share everything. What's the easiest way, Katy, for everybody to find you guys so they can test?
They can find us on Reelist.com. They can sign up there. They can email me directly, kshoot@Reelist.
Yep. Awesome. Connect with them on LinkedIn as well.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much. And I'll make sure we definitely get everybody to kind of check you guys out and test. And Reelist, it's an amazing product. Everybody, I'm Tim Sackett. This is HR Famous. Again, we are out.